Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. So, guys, in the last session, please look at the screen. We had started with the world history, and सबसे पहले हमने यहाँ पे when we were looking at the world history, we had looked at the syllabus, and in that, when we were looking at the syllabus, guys, we have got an idea that the topics that we will be taking in the world history will include such as industrial revolution will be there, American revolution will be there, American civil war will be there. Okay, there are going to be the world wars, unification of Italy, unification of Germany. Okay, so we will be going with those topics. Apart from that, guys, when we had looked at the syllabus, then I had gone with the approach to prepare the world history for UPSC. So सबसे पहले the first thing that we were looking at, I told you that the study of past year papers is very important, and these were the areas where the questions had been asked. Okay, and after that, guys, when we were looking at the books and the resources, okay, and in that I told you that you can go with the NCERT class 11 themes in world history. साथ में you can go with the NCERT class 10 story of civilizations by Arjun Dev, and apart from that you can go with the any coaching material. Okay, जो भी आपको अच्छा लगे. And then, guys, when we were looking at the strategy for the world history, I told you that you should start from the basics. Okay, that means you should start with the NCERTs first. Over the period of time, when you're good with your basics, when your foundation is strong, okay, after that you will be able to cope up with this particular subject. And then, guys, we had looked at the UPSC PYQs as well, like what was the question that was asked by the UPSC in the 2024 from the world history portion. 2021 we had looked at 2015 as well. Apart from that, guys, then we had started with some topics, okay, the events or the important civilizations, okay, which were there before the 18th century. And सबसे पहले we had looked at the Greek civilization, guys, if you are looking at the screen, and we saw that this civilization prevailed in the ancient Europe, and the cities such as Macedonia, Sparta, Corinth, या फिर Athens had flourished. Socrates, Aristotle, Alexander the Great, even the Herodotus, who is called as the father of the history, okay, they were part of this great civilization. And after that, guys, we also looked at that जो democracy था, democracy in its crude form had originated from the Greek civilization only, even the Olympic Games. After the decline of Greek civilization, we saw the emergence of one great civilization, another great civilization, that was the Roman Empire. And this, if I see, when we were looking at the great Roman Empire, this flourished around the Italy. And when we see, can you look at the Rome, guys, over here? And over the period of time, we saw that these Romans had learnt a lot from the Greeks, be it art, be it architecture, be it religious beliefs, be it science. Okay, not just that, we also saw that this Roman Empire got further disintegrated into two parts. One, it was the Western Roman Empire, and the another one was the Eastern Roman Empire. The Western part, the capital became the Rome, and in the Eastern part, the capital was Constantinople, or the present day Istanbul. Apart from that, we saw जो Eastern वाला part था, that was called as the Byzantine Empire. And after that, I told you that in 1453 AD, the Constantinople had fallen to Turks, or the Byzantine Empire had fallen, and we saw the Constantinople or the Istanbul was taken by the great Ottoman Empire. After that, guys, we had seen कि जो Latin था, the Latin script had developed during this particular civilization or during this particular period. Not just that, we also saw the luxuries of these Romans were based on the exploitation of the slaves. Okay, and after that, हमने ये भी देखा था that it was the rise of the Christianity which promoted the idea of equality. Okay, that daunted the image of this great Roman Empire. Not just that, when we were looking at the decline of the Romans, one more reason was the invasions from the outside. Okay, जैसे ये cover हो गया था, guys, we saw that कि Colosseums भी हुआ करते थे यहाँ पे. You might have seen those gladiator movies. And then we had started with the Dark Age in Europe, guys. And we saw that जो Dark Age था, this was the period in Europe from the 5th century AD onwards till 15th century AD. This was the age of the faith rather than the age of the reason. Okay, not just that, हमने ये भी देखा था कि this term was coined by the Francisco Petrarch ठीक है, he was an Italian scholar and in this phase we are seeing कि यहाँ पे as such development नहीं हो रहा है in the fields of art, in the fields of literature, in the fields of science, okay, या फिर कोई और field. So we are seeing the lack of development in these particular fields during this time. And then when we were looking at this one, we saw there was no social mobility or other reasons as well. So guys, in this session, after that guys, we had looked at the crusades as well. And we saw these were the religious wars which were fought between the Islamic world and the Christian world for the control of the Jerusalem. And then finally we saw that there were in total 8 wars, but there were 3 major wars. And finally this Jerusalem fell to Ottoman Turks over the period of time. And then guys, after that we had looked at the Roman Catholic Church. We saw that during the medieval times only, the Pope emerged as the most powerful man in the Europe. Even he was more powerful than the king himself. Apart from that, we also saw that the church it emerged as one of the most powerful institutions in Europe. And then after that, guys, we had looked at the evils of the church as well. Okay, in the Middle Ages from 600 AD to 1500 AD, we saw there were many evils in the form of like money for every ritual, money for every post, and the church started selling the letters of indulgence by which the sins were removed and the people can directly go to heaven. Not just that, we also saw that confessions of sins was made compulsory once in a year if the breach of that law or the breach of that rule resulted in this severe punishment. Not okay. Then guys, in this session we have to start with the beginning of modern age, but before that we have to look at the important concepts such as feudalism. First, we will be looking at this particular topic, feudalism होता क्या है, what is the feudalism, ठीक है, definition देखेंगे, and after that we have to look at the decline of feudalism as well. Apart from that guys, when we will be covering this, we have to look at the Renaissance, okay, or you can call it as Renaissance as well. And then we have to look at some of the features of the Renaissance, plus what do you understand by the Enlightenment, okay, features of Enlightenment. Not just that, after that we will see role of Voltaire, plus then we have to start with our main topics, and we have to start from the Industrial Revolution. First we will be looking at the Industrial Revolution. Okay, then we will be looking at the American Revolution, then we will be looking at the American Civil War. Similarly, we have to look at the French Revolution, unification of Italy, unification of Germany with the rise of the nationalism, okay, over the period of time. We will be looking at the world wars, Chinese Revolution, Russian Revolution. These are going to be the topics that we have to cover. Okay, so guys, the first thing that you should do now, okay, heading दे दीजिए. Let's start with the feudalism. Let's start with the feudalism. बहुत ही आसान कॉन्सेप्ट है, बहुत ही सिंपल भी है. गुड इवनिंग गाइस, गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग. ठीक है? Anyone having any idea regarding the feudalism? Okay, don't look at the screen. Okay, anyone? Let me see. What do you think? क्या होता है feudalism? क्या होता है? आपने पढ़ा भी होगा, I guess, अपने क्लास 9th 10th या okay, या फिर ग्रेजुएशन में भी कभी ना कभी तो देखा ही होगा. Okay, what do you understand by the feudalism? Very good. It's a kind of hierarchical administration. वो भी मान सकता हूँ. Anyone else? Monarchy? No. Anyone? Okay. Use of land? Very good. You're very close. Anyone? Anyone else? Yes? Okay. So guys, the first thing, have you heard about the जागीरदारी system? कुछ सुना होगा, ठीक है, हमारी country में भी it was their जागीरदारी system and all. Okay. The first thing that I would like to tell you when we look at the feudalism, आपको एक simply ये याद रखना है. It was the political and the administrative system. क्या था? It was the political and the administrative system of the Middle Ages. And when we look at this particular system, सिंपली क्या होता था, जो लैंड था ना, ठीक है, लैंड वॉज एक्सचेंज फॉर मिलिट्री सर्विस एज वेल एज फॉर लॉयल्टी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई एम द किंग, ठीक है, एंड यू पीपल आर द नोबल्स, दीज टू आर द नोबल्स और द लोकल चीफ्स, ओके, एंड आई एम द किंग, लैंड किन का है, लैंड मेरा है, ठीक है, इट्स माइन. व्हाट आई एम डूइंग, मैंने इनको लैंड दे दिया, आई हैव गिवन देम लैंड, and in turn or in return what they are going to do, okay, they will be providing me military services in the forms of arms, in the form of soldiers, in the form of horses, or in the form of elephants during the time of war, plus they will be also loyal towards me. Okay, so this was, क्या होता है कि दोनों का ही यहाँ पे kind of benefit हुआ करता था. The first thing that you should remember when it comes to the feudalism, remember this, ठीक है, it was a political as well as an administrative system in the middle ages. First point लिखो. Feudalism was a political and administrative system. Points में लिखना. In the middle ages. ठीक है, and guys, if I look at this particular word feud, can you see this one? Feud. Okay, this feud is a German word, ठीक है, which means piece of land. Feud क्या है? Feud is a German word which means piece of land. Write down, feud is a German word which means piece of land. Feud is a German word which means piece of land. Okay. Now look here, guys. When we look at the feudal society now, okay, remember this. When we look at the feudal society, कौन सी society? Anyone? When we look at the feudal society, land is exchanged. किसको exchange किया जाता है? Land is exchanged for military service and loyalty. Remember that. For example, यहाँ पे if we have the king over here, so what king is going to do? King is going to distribute his land. King is going to distribute his land among different nobles or among different nobles and chiefs, and in turn those nobles and chiefs will be providing military service as well as they will remain loyal towards the king. So please remember this. Write down, in feudal society, land is exchanged. In feudal society, land is exchanged for military service and loyalty. Now guys, if possible, okay, ये diagram आपको याद रखना है. You need to remember this pyramid shape. Okay, can you see this one? Okay, for example, can you see this one? यहाँ पे एक hierarchy है. Okay, this guy had told that it's kind of an hierarchical system. Okay, even you can look at this one. Who is at the top? The king is at the top, and then you are seeing greater lords, then lesser lords, then you are seeing knights. Lords का जो ये है ना rank है, that will be higher than the knights. And at the bottom of this hierarchy, कौन है यहाँ पे? It is going to be the peasants. So please remember this. Okay, draw this diagram. Okay, mention this kings, king, greater lords, great lords, lesser lords, knights, peasants. And we are seeing this is kind of an hierarchy over here. We are seeing a kind of hierarchy over here. So for example, लैंड किनके पास था? पूरा का पूरा राजा के पास ही होता है ना, ठीक है। किंग इज द अल्टीमेट ओनर, जिस देश का राजा, लैंड तो ऑब्वियसली उसी का ही था। ही वाज हैविंग ह्यूज वेल्थ एंड प्रॉपर्टी एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, सो ही यूज्ड टू गिव सम लैंड और ही यूज्ड टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट दैट लैंड amongst his great nobles and chiefs, and in turn ये जो noble था, ये chief था, he will be providing military services, protecting king during the time of war, during the time of catastrophe. Okay, and we are seeing at the bottom of this hierarchy, we are seeing peasants will be suffering. Okay, now look here guys, when we are looking at this particular hierarchy, okay, we are seeing this feudalism gave rise to the powerful nobles as well as powerful chiefs. When we are looking at this one, okay, so this feudalism gave birth to the emergence of powerful nobles and powerful chiefs. We can also say that, okay, we can also conclude with the point that, okay, this gave rise to the decentralization of power. That means power is being distributed or power is being shared with the lower levels of the authority. Okay, please remember this. ये लिखो, feudalism gave rise to powerful chiefs. Feudalism gave rise to powerful chiefs and nobles. Feudalism gave rise to the powerful chiefs and nobles. Okay, everyone has an idea of decentralization of power. Decentralization of power means you will be distributing powers with the lower levels of the authority. For example, अगर मैं देखूं, अगर country बहुत बड़ा है and then local levels पे we are seeing पंचायत and all that, अब अगर उनके पास भी power है, if they are having the power, that means power has been decentralized. Similarly, we are seeing, ये लिखो, in this feudalism, we also see the decentralization of power. We also see the decentralization of power. Okay, we see the decentralization of power. One more point guys, when we are looking at these powerful chiefs and powerful nobles, okay, it is being said that ये जो powerful nobles थे, powerful chiefs थे, they enjoyed complete autonomy and complete authority in the given areas. Okay, ये point भी लिखो, the local chiefs and the local nobles enjoyed complete authority in the given areas. The local nobles or chiefs and the local chiefs enjoyed the complete authority in a given area. Okay. Now guys, one more thing. When we are looking at the feudalism, okay, so we have got an idea that land is being exchanged. Land is being exchanged. Land को आप तभी exchange करेंगे when that land will be kind of beneficial for the people or the society as a whole. So what we see when we look at the feudalism at this point of time, agriculture was the main occupation. It was an agrarian economy. As such, we are not witnessing trade and commerce on a large scale. Okay. So please remember this, it was a rural economy plus agriculture was the main occupation. Okay, write down this point. Feudalism, yeah, or feudal economy was a rural economy. Feudal economy was a rural economy. And agriculture was the main occupation. Look here guys, so please remember this, we have got an idea now. Feudalism is a kind of political and administrative system okay, where we are seeing the land is being exchanged, okay, for the military service and the loyalty. The king or the monarch, okay, what he used to do, वो अपना land को distribute करता था. He used to distribute his land among the powerful nobles and chiefs, and in turn those nobles or chiefs, okay, remained loyal to the king and, okay, or provided him military support. So similarly अगर हम यहाँ पे देखें, यहाँ पे भी वैसा ही कहा गया है, the feudalism is derived from the word feud, which means conditional ownership of land. It is defined as a system of political organization prevailing in Europe from 9 to the 15th century AD, okay? Or in other words, feudalism is a system of land ownership and duties. Or we can see with feudalism, all the land in a kingdom was of the kings. पूरा land किनका था? It was of the kings. And we are seeing, however, the king would give some of the land to the lords or the nobles who fought for him. Simple वही है, ठीक है? Okay, we have simplified it. Now guys, one thing that you should remember, ऐसा नहीं कि that feudalism was only prevalent in Europe, ठीक है? It was prevalent in India as well. ये इंडिया में भी था. Okay, जब हम देखते हैं when we look at the Delhi Sultanate, when we look at the Mughal era, तो वहाँ पे भी kind of जागीरदारी system was seen, जहाँ पे kind of land दिया जाता था. Now, one thing, let's look at the decline of feudalism. Heading दे दो, decline of feudalism. Decline of feudalism. Anyone, what do you understand by feudalism now? If they ask you tomorrow in an interview or in your mains examination, what do you understand by feudalism? Yes? Very good. Okay. Second point. Very good. Great. Great. Okay. One more point that you would like to add? Great. Okay. So please remember these points. Okay. Now guys, when we look at the decline of feudalism, okay, let's look at the reasons. Reasons for the decline of feudalism. The first thing, guys, that you need to remember, it is going to be Black Death disease. That was a bubonic plague in the Europe, which wiped out around 60 to 70% of the Europe's population. अब जब लेबर शॉर्टेज हो रहा है, एग्रीकल्चर में तो काम कोई करेगा नहीं, and over the period of time we will see people started looking for better opportunities. Okay, the first thing, जो पहला reason था, it was the Black Death disease. Black Death disease, Europe. Okay, it was a bubonic plague, a bacterial infection. Which wiped out around 60 to 70% of Europe's population. Black Death disease. Okay, now guys, when we are looking at this Black Death disease, okay, so बहुत सारा population अब कम हो रहा है यहाँ पे. Now second thing, when these feudal lords, okay, they tried to go back to the old social order, बहुत सारे peasants ने, most of the peasants revolted at that time. Okay, the first reason when we look at the decline of feudalism is the Black Death disease. Second thing, we can go with the rebellions or the revolts by the peasants. Second reason, right down, second reason, revolt by peasants. Okay, one more thing, guys. When we are looking at the 14th or 15th century AD or the 16th century AD, we are seeing at that point of time बहुत सारे नए markets ना अब उभर के आ रहे हैं. For example, the landing of Vasco da Gama at Calicut. 1498, India was discovered via an ocean route. ऐसा नहीं था कि that we were not trading with the Europe, but we had found an alternative route. Okay, Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese guy, landed at Calicut in 1498. Similarly, we are seeing, ठीक है, it was the Christopher Columbus who had discovered the America. So the third reason, it is going to be the discovery of new sea routes as well as discovery of new markets. When we are finding new sea routes, when we are finding new markets, obviously it is going to enhance our trade and commerce. Okay, so kindly remember this. The third reason was the discovery of new sea routes as well as discovery of new markets. Discovery of new sea routes and new markets. Okay, so it was for the economic benefits, it was for the greed of humans towards the पैसा है ना, पैसा हर किसी को कहीं किसी भी एंड पे लेके जा सकता है. इट इज बीइंग सेड दैट अगर मून पे भी ऐसा कुछ निकला और एनी अदर प्लैनेट पे इंसान वहां पे भी जाएगा, ठीक है, पैसे के लिए. So please remember this, even at that point of time, Vasco da Gama, they took these daring sea voyages, okay, which were full of challenges. Ships बहुत छोटे थे, they were not having that much advanced shipping techniques or shipping technology, okay, but we know that at that point of time, okay, this was a daring step. Now discovery of new sea routes and new markets, this also led to the decline of feudalism. Apart from that, guys, one more reason is emergence of money based economy. Okay, if we see, when we go back to our roots, when we go back to history, we will see the people used to trade. Okay, और जो system हुआ करता था barter system. ठीक है, आप मुझे गेहूं दो, मैं आपको चावल देता हूं. You are going to give me the wheat, I am going to give you the rice. Okay, similarly the commodities were exchanged. But over the period of time, when we see the emergence of coins, and it is being said that around 7th century BC के आसपास पहला coin का use किया गया था. And over the period of time, we saw the paper currency. Around 1000 AD के आसपास people started using the paper currency. Okay, now over the period of time, currently we are going with the cashless. Digital economy is there. We are having cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and all that. And over the period of time, you will see the emergence of new technologies or the new currency system. So please remember this. One more reason, it is going to be the emergence of money-based economy. Right on fourth one, emergence of money-based economy. Money-based economy. One more reason, guys, that led to the decline of feudalism was, okay, the coming of the age of Renaissance, the coming of the age of enlightenment. The Renaissance as well as enlightenment led to the decline of feudalism. One more, Renaissance and enlightenment. Where the people challenged the authority of the Pope, people challenged the authority of the king. It was being said that the king had the divine, okay, right to rule. He was a kind of shadow over the planet Earth. People used to believe that, be it in Europe, be it in India. ठीक है. So over the period of time, people started questioning this. Who has given him the right to rule? Okay. ऐसा अगर king कोई भी decision लेता था, it was being said that it was a decision of the God. And people used to believe that. But over the period of time, people started questioning that. Okay. If you are saying that he is the God shadow on earth, show us the proof. What is the logic and the reason behind that? And over the period of time, we will see the emergence of the middle class intelligentsia. Fifth reason likho, rise of middle class. Rise of middle class. rise of middle class. One more, growth of trade and commerce. Okay, now guys, let's look at one more. एक और टॉपिक है हमारे यहाँ. We have to look at that as well. Okay, let's look at the Renaissance, and then we have to look at the Enlightenment. Then we will start with our main topics that we have to start from the Industrial Revolution. Okay, जहाँ से आपके questions आने के chances बनते हैं. Okay, heading दे दीजिए, Renaissance. ठीक है, look here guys, last वाले सेशन में if you remember we had written that कि जैसे ही रोमन एम्पायर का डिक्लाइन हुआ था, do you remember that? We saw after the decline of the Roman Empire till the age of the Renaissance. ठीक है, यहां यूरोप में, in Europe we were having kind of a dark age, which was the age of the faith rather than age of the reason. So in this period, during this period, there was no development, there was lack of advancement in the field of art, literature, we saw that. Okay, so when we see, तो यूरोप जो है काफी समय के लिए ऐसा कहा जाता है कि गहरी नींद में सो गया था, होता है ना. When we look at the Renaissance, ठीक है, it's a kind of French word which means rebirth, which means rebirth. And we will see this Renaissance, okay, is a kind of age between the 14th and the 17th century. And in this, during this period, we will see Europe will be going back to its classical learning as well as wisdom. Okay, अब पहला पॉइंट लिखो यहाँ पे. Okay, एक एक पॉइंट करके हम आराम से समझेंगे. Okay, write down first point. Renaissance is a French word. Renaissance is a French word. Renaissance is a French word meaning rebirth. ठीक है, apart from that एक और पॉइंट लिखो. Renaissance points to an age. Renaissance points to an age between 14th to 17th century AD. Second point. Okay, Renaissance is a French word meaning rebirth. It points towards an age, okay, between the 14th and the 17th century. Okay, now guys, when we look at the Renaissance, remember this, it refers to the period in European civilization. It refers to the period in European civilization. Okay, write down one more point. It refers to the period it refers to the period it refers to the period in European civilization that was remarked by the revival of classical learning and wisdom. European civilization that was remarked by the revival of classical learning and wisdom. ठीक है, now guys, एक चीज है जब हम यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, it is being said that जो Renaissance था, it originated from the city. अगर मैं देखूं यहाँ पे फ्लोरेंस, इटली से इसका हमें origin देखने को मिलता है, and over the period of time वी विल सी यहाँ पे कल्चरल एज वेल एज इंटेलेक्चुअल डेवलपमेंट पे ध्यान दिया जा रहा था. सो विद दिस अगर मैं देखूं सबसे पहले व्हेन वी लुक एट दिस वन, फीचर्स क्या क्या थे रेनाइसेंस के, आराम से सुनना और आराम से समझना. Guys, when we look at the Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, as well as Newton, okay, they were the pioneers of this Renaissance, or they were the pioneers of this age. For example, when we look at the study of the universe or the planet Earth or the sun, we used to believe that ठीक है कि Earth जो है it's a flat. या for example, we used to believe in the geocentric view. That means Earth is at the center of the universe. और अर्थ के इर्द गिर्द the sun or the planets, they revolve around the planet Earth. And if I see it is going to be the Ptolemy, it is going to be the Aristotle, one of the greatest scientists or the philosophers, even he had gone with this view that Earth is at the center. And over the period of time, when we look at the 16th century AD, we are seeing the coming of the great giants such as Copernicus, 1543. He came up with the heliocentric view. Even we are seeing it is going to be the Galileo who had invented the telescope. When he said that the earth is not at the center of the universe, he was put behind the bars and then he was executed by the Pope's order. Okay, because at this point of time, when we look at the theology or when we look at the religions, okay, or when we look at the religious scriptures, they were saying that earth is at the center. So order mila, and we are seeing it is going to be the Kepler. He studied the laws as well as it is the Newtonian laws. Okay, and over the period of time, बहुत सारे लोग जो है, they started believing in logic and reasoning. Okay, show us the logic and show us the reason, we will believe. We are not going to believe blindly. For example, if I am telling you that मान लो blind faith पे ये believe है कि that okay, whenever you are entering the examination hall, okay, do one thing, put your right leg first in the examination hall. You will qualify this exam with flying colors. Okay, and you are believing in that. Okay, our sir had told us, go with this strategy, put your right leg, okay, keep this bottle of water on the right side, not on the left side. You will qualify with the flying colors. Okay, this is what? This is your blind faith. Okay. If you start asking, sir, what is the reason behind this if I put on left side or right side? Okay, will this be, इससे क्या मैं एग्जाम क्वालिफाई कर सकता हूँ राइट या लेफ्ट लेग आगे रखने से क्या होगा? ठीक है, when you start asking that questions, ठीक है, and then if I am able to explain और properly मैं reason दूंगा, okay, that is going to satisfy you. So similar scenario यहाँ पे भी था. If they were saying earth is flat, or if they were saying that earth is at the center of the universe, show us the reasons, show us the proof. Okay, or for example, I am giving you the passport to the heaven and you started asking me आपको ये passport कहाँ से मिला? Okay, that you are telling me that this is the letter by which I am going to remove your sins. Okay, you started asking me, sir, where did you get this letter from? Okay, authentic है कि नहीं है? Show us the proof. So at that point of time, I am saying कि अब आप गहरी नींद से जाग गए हो. ठीक है, that was this kind of moment. Now please remember this. अब आप heading दे दीजिए सबसे पहले features. 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 ठीक है? Okay, first thing guys, rationalism. The Renaissance emphasized on the rationalism. Rationalism means logical thinking. Rationalism means logical thinking. For example, okay, you are going to play a match against your opponent, and if they have scored 200 runs in 20 overs, you're coming with an idea that in just 1 over, ठीक है, we are going to defeat them. एक ओवर में तो 6 बॉलें ही है, ठीक है. Even if you hit 6 is out of the boundary, ठीक है. You'll not be able to defeat them. Okay, so यहाँ पे rationalism की बात हो रही है, logical thinking. ठीक है, अगर आपका logic ठीक है, reason ठीक है, then only okay you're good to go. The first thing लिखो यहाँ पे, it emphasized on rationalism. That means logic and reasoning. Okay, second thing guys, we are seeing that Most of the religions they believe that man is a sinner, humans ने कोई sin किया है, ठीक है, and throughout their life they have to worship God and they have to ask for repentance, ठीक है, and scholars यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं कि भाई साहब ऐसा तो नहीं है, ठीक है, कि एक बंदे ने कोई गुनाह किया है, कोई पाप किया है, थ्रू आउट द लाइफ ही हैज टू आस्क फॉर दैट, ओके, एंड वी विल सी बहुत सारे यहाँ पे स्कॉलर्स ने भी अपने अपने पॉइंट्स रखे थे, सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस, वी आर सीइंग द फोकस ओवर हियर विल बी द वेल बीइंग ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल, दैट मींस ह्यूमैनिज्म पे ज्यादा फोकस किया गया जाएगा। एक और पॉइंट लिखो, इट फोकस्ड ऑन ह्यूमैनिज्म, इट फोकस्ड ऑन ह्यूमैनिज्म, okay, and also focused on subjects such as history, science, grammar, etc. So we are seeing कि people earlier वो क्या करते थे, they used to go with the study of religions, ठीक है, और they were studying the nature of the God only, theology. Now apart from the theology, people are studying the humanities subjects as well, such as arts, science and all that. Okay, write down one more point. It focused on humanity rather than on divinity. It focused on humanity rather than divinity. Okay, and during this time, guys, we are seeing there was a gradual shift where people started studying the humanities subjects, okay, rather than going on with the tradition of studying only theology. Okay, one more point, write down. In this, we see a shift. In this, we see a shift from theology to the study of, in this we see a shift from theology to the study of man and nature. In this we see a shift from theology to the theology, होता है ना, study of religions, you'll be studying about God, theology, to the study of man and nature. ठीक है, one more point, development of scientific ideas was seen during this time. Development of scientific ideas. Development of scientific ideas. Okay. Discussions and debates were seen. People started inquiring the authority. Discussions and debates were seen. हाँ, वहां पे भी आ सकता है. Okay, it will fall under that as well. Okay, you can go with one more, so that when you will be writing your mains examination, एक और point add हो जाएगा. Discussions and debates were seen. People started asking the authority or questioning the authority. Apart from that, guys, we are seeing when we look at this particular age, okay, these were the pioneers, and in this age we saw the rise of these giant scholars or the great scholars such as Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, as well as Newton. Galileo had invented the famous telescope. Okay, ये लिखो point यहाँ पे. During this time, we saw the rise of great scholars such as Galileo, Copernicus. Have you heard about the Newtonian laws? I guess है ना, सबको पता होगा. Kepler, etc. Okay, now guys, let's look at one more concept that is going to be the enlightenment. ठीक है, enlightenment. एक और concept लिखो, heading दे दीजिए. Let's go with one more. That is going to be the enlightenment. Okay, guys, first we are seeing the Renaissance, and it was the Renaissance, okay, which promoted the spirit of adventure as well. Okay, with the spirit of adventure, people started looking for new opportunities, people started discovering new markets, people started looking for new opportunities and new discoveries. With this, we are seeing the landing of Vasco da Gama at Calicut, या for example the landing of Christopher Columbus in America. बहुत सारे देश जो है या बहुत सारे जो regions है, they were discovered. Now guys, coming to the Enlightenment, when we looked at the Renaissance, Renaissance was from 14th to the 17th century. After that, during the 18th century or the 17th century, we are seeing the coming of the age of reason. And we will see यहाँ पे जो role है, it will be played by the giants like Voltaire. It is going to be the Montesquieu, ठीक है? It is going to be the John Locke, or it is going to be Immanuel Kant. They are going to be the pioneers of the Enlightenment. Okay, so please remember this. When we are looking at the Enlightenment, it is going to be the age of reasons. यहाँ पे अब blind faith पे या superstitions पे belief नहीं किया जाएगा. Okay, the people are going to believe on the reason and the logic. Similarly, when we look at our country, India, it was the great Raja Ram Mohan Roy who is considered as the father of Renaissance, the father of modern India, the father of Indian journalism, okay, who had fought against this sati. Have you heard about that? Okay, in 1829, with the help of the William Bentinck, the sati was abolished. Okay, so that you will be studying in your modern history. So guys, please remember this. When you look at the Enlightenment, ऐसा नहीं है कि that flowers will rain, ठीक है, you will be going into that state of moksha, no? ये वो, it's not like that. Okay, ये दूसरा है. That means enlightenment in this sense, now you know, you have the knowledge. सही क्या है, गलत क्या है. Okay, without the help of others, without the help of the guiding one, okay, you will be following the right path. That is the enlightenment. आपने खुद खोज किया, खुद देखा what is right, what is wrong. Okay, you are coming out of the state of immaturity. ठीक है, you were believing that earth is flat. Over the period of time you thought, let me see, you studied and you got to know that nahi, earth is not flat, earth is joined. ठीक है, you have come out of the state of immaturity. You were thinking that oh, Tamil Nadu or Kerala, ठीक है, it is there, ठीक है, शायद इक्वेटर के नीचे है. But over the period of time you have studied, you saw no, इक्वेटर के नीचे नहीं, इक्वेटर के अब ही आ रहा है, it's in the northern hemisphere. That means you have come out of the state of immaturity. वही उसे ही कहते हैं हम enlightenment. So please remember this. Write down in points. Enlightenment क्या होता है? Okay. Write down first point. Enlightenment. It's also known as the age of reason. It's also known as the age of reason. पहला point. What did you write? First point. It's also known as the age of reason. Second point, ठीक है, it was a cultural and the intellectual movement. Second point, it was a cultural and the intellectual movement. It was a cultural and the intellectual movement in the 18th century. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल गाइस, मैंने आपको किसी जगह पे रख दिया है एंड देन आपका एक यू आर हैविंग ए लिमिटेड नॉलेज, ठीक है, आई हैव टोल्ड यू बाहर जितने भी है दे ऑल आर योर एनिमीज, ठीक है, ओके, बाहर जितने भी है दे आर काइंड ऑफ वाइल्ड एनिमल्स, दे विल ईट यू। आपके माइंड में क्या होगा? 20 साल 10 साल मैंने बस आपको यही ही सुनाया है, ठीक है। सो इट्स यू आर इन अ स्टेट ऑफ इमेच्योरिटी, बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम व्हेन यू वेंट आउट, यू एक्सप्लोर्ड, यू सॉ कि नहीं भाई सब सेम है, ठीक है, दे आर गुड, दे आर गुड, दे आर गुड। नाउ यू हैव लिबरेटेड योरसेल्फ फ्रॉम द स्टेट ऑफ इमेच्योरिटी, दैट इज एनलाइटनमेंट, ओके, वो भी क्या है? दैट इज ऑल्सो एनलाइटनमेंट। सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस। अब यहां पे व्हाट वी आर सीइंग, यू आर कमिंग आउट ऑफ द सुपरस्टिशंस, ठीक है, यू आर कमिंग आउट ऑफ द सुपरस्टिशन दैट फॉर एग्जांपल अमेरिकन पीपल आर बैड, अमेरिकन पीपल आर नॉट गुड, बट ओवर द पीपल ऑफ टाइम व्हेन यू कॉन्टेक्टेड विद द अमेरिकans, when you did trade with them, you met with them, you thought nahi, they are also humans, you have come out of the state of immaturity. Plus if I see yahan pe you have come out of the blind faith, आपका blind faith ये है कि that okay होता है ना कि बहुत सारे पीर बाबा वगैरह, ठीक है, बहुत सारे लोगों का, most of the people अगर हम देखें कुछ blind faith होता है, and when you are coming out of that, okay, वो भी आपका एक enlightenment ही दिखाता है। For example, there was a case, a guy was having tumor, a kind of cancer, ठीक है, at that point of time according to you whether he should visit a doctor or some baba या फिर पीर, okay, what do you think guys? Doctor, if a पीर, ठीक है, ये हर एक जगह पे है, so if he gives him some like this मिट्टी and all and he is telling him that have this with water you will be fine, okay, what do you think guys? Is the blind faith or it is kind of, ये अगर मैं मान लूं ये एक बहुत अच्छा डिसीजन है ना, this is a kind of blind faith, okay, so when people come out of that, okay, that is the kind of enlightenment, okay। एक और पॉइंट लिखो यहां पे, enlightenment emphasizes reason over superstition। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हमने आपसे कहा कि that when you are going in the examination hall take black pen not red, ठीक है, if you are going with the black pen you will come out with the flying colors, ठीक है, some of you will come sir black और blue में क्या difference है, if I take blue why not blue, ठीक है, so that was superstition, ठीक है, if you start coming with the reason that is your enlightenment। ये लिखो, the enlightenment focuses or emphasizes on reason over superstition and science over blind faith, and science over blind faith। Now let's look at the definition of Immanuel Kant, okay, how he has described this enlightenment guys, okay, how he has described this enlightenment, okay। Now when we look at the Immanuel Kant guys, can you see this one? What is his definition? Enlightenment is the liberation of man from his self-caused state of immaturity, ठीक है, sometimes it can be ignorance, you are not listening to the parents, you are not listening to the teachers, ठीक है, या किसी और का मैं कह रहा हूं, it is being said that learn from history not from experience, this is the quote of the Chanakya, learn from history not from experience, because your life it's too short, if अगर हम देखें Adolf Hitler had learned from the great Napoleon, he wouldn't have invaded the Russia, ठीक है, Napoleon invaded Russia, he lost, similarly we are seeing in 1940s Adolf Hitler did the same thing, okay, और जो अगर हम देखिए result was the same, and even अगर हम अब भी देखें we all should learn from history, even चाणक्य का एक बहुत ही अच्छा quote है। Now please remember this guys, enlightenment is the liberation of man from his self-caused state of immaturity। Apart from that, immaturity को कैसे define किया है? He had defined it as immaturity is the incapacity of using one's understanding without the guiding direction of another। ये quote लिख लो यहाँ पे। Enlightenment is the liberation of man from his self-caused state of immaturity. Immaturity क्या है? Incapacity of using one's understanding without the guiding direction of another. On a lighter note, have you seen that this Damal movie, guys? Adi Manav? Anyone? Have you seen that Damal movie? Huh? Have you seen that? Anyone? शायद आप तब हाँ धमाल मूवी सबने देखी है कि नहीं? ओके वो शायद आदि है कि मानव है वो तो कभी इंजन पे चढ़ जाता है समटाइम्स ही विल बी गोइंग विद दैट बाइक बोलता है बाइक लेके आओ वो कार लेके आता है ठीक है सो इन दैट मानव जो है ही इज नॉट इनलाइटन ठीक है बिकॉज एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम ही इज बीइंग हेल्प्ड बाय समवन एल्स उनको गाइड कोई और कर रहा है ओके सो यू हैव टू यूज योर ओन लॉजिक एंड रीजन what is right and what is wrong ठीक है even if I look at the enlightenment guys okay जो यूरोप काफी समय से सो रहा था ठीक है okay which if I see एक which was going through the dark age गहरी नींद में था and he was अगर मैं देखूं यहाँ पे he was awakened the dawn of light after long night of darkness that is the literal meaning of enlightenment can you see this one literal meaning of enlightenment was dawn of light after long night of darkness ये point भी आप लिख सकते हो okay write down literal meaning of enlightenment was dawn of light after long night of darkness ये point लिखो बस okay now guys one thing that you should remember when we are looking at the enlightenment okay there were some pioneers there were some great scholars who had contributed and the first one the pioneer was the Voltaire pioneer was the Voltaire he was a French scholar and what we are seeing that ये जो वोल्टेयर भाई साहब थे ठीक है he had gone to England he had visited England and in England he looked at the society he looked at the political structure okay and he saw that there is kind of complete freedom there is kind of equality there is kind of democracy ठीक है and over the period of time when he came back okay he started advocating for the same ideas so we are saying the ideas of equality the ideas of fraternity okay and even we can see the ideas such as separation of church from the state okay this idea of constitutional form of government had emerged during this time and we will see it is going to be the role of Montesquieu ठीक है who had come up with the idea of separation of powers जैसे हमारी country में भी अभी है if we see we are having a legislature parliament we are having an executive elected government and we are having a judiciary they all function separately separation of powers ठीक है so please remember this अब यहाँ पे write down the Voltaire लिखो Voltaire he was a pioneer okay who started advocating he was a pioneer who started advocating for the ideas such as liberty freedom ठीक है, नाउ एक और पॉइंट लिखो, he was impressed by the Isaac Newton. He was impressed by the Isaac Newton and the Society of England. And the Society of England. Okay, one more guy. It is going to be the Montesquieu. Advocated for separation of powers. And if I see presently, in many countries we are seeing the separation of powers. For example, United States of America, जहां पे अगर हम देखें, in our country India, we are having judiciary, we are having legislature, or we are having executive. Immanuel Kant was there, John Locke was there. Okay, बस इनका एक idea रख लो. Now one more thing guys, when we are looking at the enlightenment, okay, people started asking for the ideas of such as equality, liberty, freedom. Okay, not just that, we are seeing people started asking for the constitutional form of government. Okay, guys, have you heard about the monarchy? What do you understand by monarchy? ओके वेरी गुड, जहां पे कोई व्यक्ति, ठीक है, कोई किंग और क्वीन विल बी रूलिंग. व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय एब्सोल्यूट और एब्सोल्यूट मोनार्की? एब्सोल्यूट मोनार्की क्या होता है? एनीवन? वेरी गुड, द अल्टीमेट पावर, ओके, इज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ द किंग और क्वीन. व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोनार्की? You're very close. That means here the king or the queen will rule according to the constitution. Okay, so please remember this. So yahan pe the people now started advocating for the constitutional form of government. Write down one more point. Features, ideas mein likho. Ideas such as separation of church from state emerged. Separation of church from state emerged. Okay. One more idea, guys. We can see the constitutional form of government that also emerged. Constitutional form of government emerged. Ideas such as liberty, equality. Guys, what do you think? Equality है क्या दुनिया में और वर्ल्ड में at this point of time? What do you think? Do you think that equality is there throughout the world? Anyone? Why? Please justify your statement. Anyone? Is this world male dominated? Yes? Okay, हाँ. Justify your answer or statement. Why do you think so? Yes, हाँ, बताइए. हाँ? Yes? Only males are there. Okay, anyone else? Chalo, at the end we will discuss. Okay, they are going to ask you these kind of questions. Okay, apart from this, you should. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, that is one aspect done. Let's come to societal, let's come to society, let's come to economic point. Okay, technology wise. Okay, so at the end we will discuss about this. Okay, now guys, when we have looked at this one, एक और point लिखो. Ideas of secularism emerged. ठीक है. One more thing, guys. When we look at the enlightenment now, it is being said that it laid emphasis on material happiness. से अगर कोई बंदा चाह रहा है कि गाड़ी घर बंगला ये सब होना चाहिए, it is not like that कि that you should live a life of austerity, you should live like a fakir. ठीक है. If you want material things, you can have. If you want material happiness, you can have. Okay. And we are seeing in the enlightenment, the salvation or the nirvana kind of concept was neglected. Right on one more point. Enlightenment laid emphasis on material happiness. Enlightenment laid emphasis on material happiness and neglected salvation or nirvana concept. Neglected salvation. होता ना मोक्ष. ठीक है. Live a life of like a simple. ठीक है. हाँ, sage, sand. Okay. अब यहाँ पे people are going with the कि that नहीं, material things should be there. Okay. हाँ, salvation or nirvana concept. You will be studying that in your Buddhism वाला part या फिर Jainism. Okay. Now guys, when we have looked at this one, now we have to start. Okay. With the industrial revolution, जहां से हमारी जर्नी रियल सेंसेस में स्टार्ट होती है. हेडिंग दे दीजिए इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन. लेट्स गो विद द इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन. लुक हियर. सबसे पहले गाइस मैं आपको स्टोरी बताऊंगा एंड आफ्टर दैट वी विल बी राइटिंग. सिमिलरली वी विल गो विद द अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन. For first 5-6 minutes I'll be telling you the story and then again with the American Civil War as well ताकि better understanding रहे यहाँ पे. Guys, when we look at the industrial revolution, ठीक है, आराम से सुनना एक एक point. It is being said that the industrial revolution started around 1740s 1750s. ठीक है, till 1860 तक we are seeing this. Okay, mass production. Apart from that, when we look at the industrial revolution, it is being said that initially जो industrial revolution था, it started from the England. कहाँ से start हुआ था? England से. And then over the period of time, ये जो industrial revolution था, this industrial revolution spread to the other parts of the Europe as well as to the United States of America. Not just there, it spread to the Asian countries such as Japan या फिर Russia as well. And over the period of time, we are seeing अब यहाँ पे पहले पहले जो डिस्कवरीज हुई थी नए नए मार्केट्स की, न्यू सी रूट्स वे डिस्कवर्ड एंड वी आर विटनेसिंग अब यहाँ पे जब डिमांड ज्यादा हो गया है ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम टू मीट दैट डिमांड, इंडस्ट्रीज का एस्टेब्लिशमेंट होना बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट था. एंड विद दिस जब मैं इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन देख रहा हूं, वी आर सीइंग दैट इट ओरिजिनेटेड फ्रॉम द इंग्लैंड ओनली. ठीक है, व्हाई डिड इट स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द इंग्लैंड ओनली? ओके, दिस क्वेश्चन वाज आस्क्ड. We get to know that in England the first thing, the capital was there. Okay, advanced banking system was there. Second, the natural resources in the form of coal, in the form of iron. ठीक है, plus we are seeing the political stability was in England. Other nations, they were involved in wars, but when we are looking at the England, England was having peace and calm at that point of time. Political stability was there. Plus, we are seeing there was an agricultural revolution as well in the form of enclosure movement. Apart from that, the huge capital as well as the great number of colonies which were possessed by the England, okay, paved its way towards the great industrial revolution. And it is going to be this industrial revolution only with which we will see England is going to dominate the world for the coming 100 years. And over the period of time, we will see how this industrial revolution also led to the people fought for the great resources या फिर जो world wars हुए थे, be it World War First or World War Second. So please remember this, guys. When we look at the industrial revolution, the first thing that you need to remember that here we are seeing a gradual shift from the handmade production to the machine made production. Second thing, shift यहाँ पे भी होगा that initially people were जो economy था, it was based on feudal system. Feudal economy was there, agrarian economy was there. Now the shift will be from agrarian or feudal economy towards the capitalist industrialized system based economy. So दो जगहों पे यहाँ पे shift हमें देखने को मिलेगा. And over the period of time, we have to look at the causes of the industrial revolution, be it political cause, economic cause या फिर technological. Technology में we will see the coming of the shipping journey, we will see the coming of the water frame, we will see the coming of the steam engine. ठीक है, because of those okay technical or technological innovations, ठीक है, England laid the front. Okay, apart from that, we have to look at the impact as well. Okay, the first point that you will be writing regarding industrial revolution. Okay, write down first point, guys. Industrial revolution was a transformative era. First point, the industrial revolution was a transformative era. Okay, guys, the industrial revolution was a transformative era. Okay, that transformed, can you see this one, guys? That transformed societies from feudal agrarian economies to the capitalist industrialized systems. Okay, जो economies we are seeing which were feudal as well as agrarian economies, now we are seeing a gradual shift towards the capitalist or industrialized system. This is the first definition. Second definition मैं आपको easy definition बता देता हूं. That means you will be going towards the new manufacturing techniques or methods. Okay, mass production of iron, new chemical processes, that will also include your industrial revolution. Okay, you write down societies from feudal, comma agrarian economies, Amritsar, please. Sir, please explain in by. Oh, sure. Okay. Likha, guys? Okay. One more point. Okay. Simple definition. Okay. Whether you'll be able to write it or not. Ab yahan pe, let's go with this simple definition. Guys, industrial revolution याद रख लेना. Industrial revolution, ठीक है, it is going to be that phase या वो revolution रहेगा जहां पे आप क्या कर रहे हो, जो इससे पहले इनिशियली जो इंडस्ट्रीज हुआ करती थी, ठीक है, जहां पे हैंडमेड प्रोडक्ट्स या फिर हैंडमेड प्रोडक्शन हुआ करता था. नाउ सिंपली इट इज गोइंग टू बी द शिफ्ट फ्रॉम द हैंडमेड प्रोडक्शन टुवर्ड्स द मशीन मेड प्रोडक्शन. ओके, ये लिखो. इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन refers to the shift from going hand made products to the large scale machine production to the large scale machine production. Shift from handmade products to the large scale machine production. ठीक है. अब guys एक चीज है, when we look at the industrial revolution ना, one more definition जो भी आपको आसान लगे, okay, whatever you are finding simple during the time of examination, when you will be writing these answers, you can go with any definition. आप किसी भी definition के साथ जा सकते हो, ठीक है. अगर मैं देखूं अब यहाँ पे industrial revolution, it also includes new manufacturing processes, new manufacturing techniques. Okay, write down. Industrial revolution also includes new manufacturing processes and techniques. यहाँ पे इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन में नई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेसेस एंड नई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग टेक्निक्स को भी देखा गया है. ठीक है, ठीक है. कॉमा, it also includes development of machine tools. It also includes development of machine tools, use of new chemical processes, etc. Use of new chemical processes, etc. Done? Okay. Look here guys, एक और point है that you need to remember, याद रखना कि that when we look at the industrial revolution, जो date है ना mostly you can go with the 18th and 19th century. कहाँ पे? 18th and 19th century, or most precisely you can go with the date of 1740 to 1860 तक. Okay, where we are looking at the boom. ठीक है, जब यहाँ पे जो machine made production था, ठीक है, that was at its peak. Apart from that, one more thing that you need to remember when we are looking at the industrial revolution, it originated in Britain. Origin क्या था? Britain. And over the period of time, it rapidly spread to the United States, to the Western Europe, as well as other parts of the world. ये point भी लिखो. It originated in Britain. It originated in Britain. So सबसे पहले कहाँ पे इसका origin हमें देखने को मिल रहा है guys? It was the Britain. Okay. And then फिर कहाँ पे spread हुआ? यूरोप या फिर यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका या फिर अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. So simple definition आसान भाषा में इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन was a kind of transition. क्या था? ट्रांजिशन था जहां पे आप शिफ्ट कर रहे हो हैंड प्रोडक्शन से मशीन प्रोडक्शन की ओर. फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन. सेकंड डेफिनेशन, it was a transformative era or is a transition era where we are seeing जो economies थी उनने शिफ्ट किया feudal agrarian to the capitalist or industrial systems, industrialized systems. वो भी एक definition है यहाँ पे. So please remember this. It included new manufacturing techniques, new chemical processes, ठीक है, invention of new tools, and it was driven by the advancement in the science and technology. Okay, ये point भी लिखो. Industrial revolution was driven by advancement in technology. Industrial revolution was driven by advancement in technology and industry. Now look here. Okay, so if they ask you tomorrow, what do you understand by the industrial revolution? Okay, and then with that they might ask you what were the causes for the industrial revolution or what were the reasons for the industrial revolution. We have got an idea कि एक definition, एक introduction हम लिख सकते हैं. We can write an introduction. Okay, that means industrial revolution refers to the transition going from this feudal agrarian to the capitalist industrialized systems. Not just that, industrial revolution also refers, okay, where we are seeing a shift from handmade production to the machine made production. Asan definition. It originated in England and then over the period of time it spread to the other parts of the world. Now we have to look at the causes or the reasons of the industrial revolution. Heading दे दो, write down the heading, reasons slash causes for industrial revolution. Reasons slash causes for industrial revolution. Okay, let's go with the first cause, guys. That is going to be the geopolitical. Heading दे दीजिए सबसे पहले geopolitical. जब हम reasons देख रहे हैं तो पहला हम यहाँ पे geopolitical देखेंगे. Okay, look here, guys. Can you see this Istanbul over here? ये रहा Istanbul. Okay, the Constantinople. We are seeing 1453 में, guys, in 1453 the Byzantine Empire had fallen, and this Constantinople और जो ये Istanbul था, now it was taken by the great Ottoman Turks. समझने की कोशिश करना. What had happened in 1453? The Byzantine Empire had fallen. तो बाइजेंटाइन एम्पायर को हराया गया था किनके द्वारा? ऑटोमन टर्क्स के द्वारा और ऑटोमन एम्पायर के द्वारा. एंड विद दैट वी आर सीइंग दिस वाज द ओनली लिंक एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम जो यूरोप को कनेक्ट कर रहा था विद द ईस्टर्न लैंड्स, और जो ट्रेड हो रहा था वो यहीं से ही हो रहा था. एंड यू विल सी 1870s के आसपास यहां पे आपका एक सुएज कनाल भी आ जाएगा 1869 में. ठीक है. एंड इफ आई सी उससे पहले इस्तानबुल ही बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले कर रहा था विद यूरोप. एंड आफ्टर दैट 1498 के आसपास, ठीक है, वी विल सी एक और रूट जो है, ओके, दैट विल बी, उसे ढूंढा जाएगा. ठीक है. एंड दैट विल बी द ओशियानिक रूट. ठीक है, बाय द वास्को डी गामा. बट वो कब होगा? 1498 के बाद. सो गाइस, विद दिस, विद द फॉल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टेंटिनोपल, जो यूरोप में कंट्रीज थी, ठीक है, पर्टिकुलरली एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इट इज गोइंग टू बी द स्पेन एंड द पोर्टुगल, ठीक है, जो कि हु वर लीडिंग फ्रॉम द फ्रंट, दे स्टार्टेड स्पॉन्सरिंग द सी वॉयेजेस. ठीक है. एंड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम वी आर सीइंग, अब इन लोगों को तो ट्रेड करना था ईस्टर्न कंट्रीज के साथ, because Arabs at that point of time they were acting as the middlemen. ठीक है. And they earned huge profits. Okay, to annihilate that, what we are seeing, these Europeans started looking for other routes to India as well as to the eastern areas. And with that we will see, अब यहाँ पे नए मार्केट्स का डिस्कवरी हो रहा है. ठीक है, नए लैंड्स का डिस्कवरी हो रहा है. New lands and new markets were discovered, and in that 1492 America was discovered by the Christopher Columbus. 1498 India was discovered by the Vasco da Gama. Okay, when the new markets were discovered, what we are seeing over the period of time, trade and commerce, ठीक है, enhanced, and over the period of time we are seeing this. Okay, this led to the boom in the industrial production. ठीक है. So ये भी एक रीजन था. राइट डाउन फर्स्ट पॉइंट यहां पे लिखो, जियोपॉलिटिकल में fall of Constantinople. 1453 AD। ठीक है, यहां पे लिखो कॉन्स्टेंटिनोपल was now controlled by Ottoman Turks. Constantinople was now controlled by Ottoman Turks. ठीक है, नाउ गाइस वी आर सीइंग, अब यहां पे अगर आपको कुछ आइडिया होगा, एक सिल्क रूट भी हुआ करता था। ठीक है, एंड व्हेन वी लुक एट द सिल्क गाइस, ओके, चाइना हैड केप्ट इट एज अ काइंड ऑफ सीक्रेट। चाइना ने सीक्रेट रखा था, ओके, ये सिल्क का प्रोडक्शन कैसे करते हैं, ओके, फॉर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ इयर्स। बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम बहुत सारे लोग फिर वो जान भी गए थे। इवन वी कैन सी दैट द पोर्टुगीज केम अराउंड 1498 AD and the Dutch came around 1502 AD के आसपास, Dutch people. That means for 100 years, okay, the Portuguese had dominated the trade route to the India. Okay, so similarly अगर मैं अब यहाँ पे देखूं, with the fall of the Constantinople, what we are seeing, अब जो Ottoman Turks है, they started dominating the Silk Route. अब जैसे Silk Route को dominate कौन कर रहे हैं? Ottoman Turks. अब यहाँ पे Europeans started finding new routes to the India, and over the period of time अमेरिका का डिस्कवरी as well as इंडिया का भी डिस्कवरी होता है। एरो के फॉर्म में लिखो like this, जैसे मैं लिख रहा हूं, ओके, हमने ऐसे लिखा, ओके, ऐसे एरो के फॉर्म में। The Ottoman Turks started dominating Silk Route. The Ottoman Turks started dominating Silk Route. Okay. अब यहाँ पे this is the action. What is going to be the reaction? We will see जो यूरोपियन कंट्रीज है, ऑलरेडी वहां पे रिनाइसेंस का एमरजेंस हो रहा था। ठीक है, द एज ऑफ रीजनिंग, rationalism, humanism, spirit of adventure was there, and what we are seeing, अब यहाँ पे voyages का स्पॉन्सर होने लगेगा। ठीक है, एंड वी विल सी प्रिंस हेनरी, जिनको नेविगेटर भी कहा जाता था, वास्को डी गामा, ठीक है, बार्थोलोमेव दियाज, नॉट जस्ट दैट, अमेरिगो वेस्पुसी, जिनके बेसिस पे अमेरिका का नाम रखा गया था, क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस। ओके, दे स्टार्टेड गोइंग फॉर द लॉन्ग वॉयेजेस, प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस। अब यहां पे जैसे ये होगा, एरो के फॉर्म में लिखो, यूरोपियंस started looking for new markets and voyages were seen. Europeans started looking for new markets and voyages were seen. And जब ये सब हम देख ही रहे थे guys, what we are witnessing at that point of time, अब यहाँ पे एक तो हमारी कंट्री का भी डिस्कवरी हो रहा है, प्लस साथ साथ में अमेरिका का भी डिस्कवरी हो रहा है। So we are seeing America was discovered, एरो के फॉर्म में ही लिखना, अमेरिका 1492 AD। ऐसा नहीं था कि अमेरिका वॉज नॉट देयर, ठीक है, इट वॉज देयर, बट अब यहां पे रूट देखा गया है वाया ओशन। ठीक है, एक्चुअली वहां पे रेड नेटिव इंडियंस हुआ करते थे। व्हेन वी विल बी लुकिंग एट द अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन, ओके, वी हैव टू लुक एट दैट सिनेरियो एज वेल। सिमिलरली हमारा ट्रेड था, ठीक है, संगम एज, वन ऑफ द ग्रेटेस्ट सिविलाइजेशन या एज को, जहां पे वी आर सीइंग चेरास, छोलास एंड पांड्यास वेर देयर। ठीक है, जब मेगास्थनीज वगैरह वो सब यहाँ पे आए थे, इवन द चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य, ठीक है, अशोक सम्राट, तो वी वेर डूइंग ट्रेड विद द यूरोपियंस, बट नाउ यूरोपियंस वेर नाउ लुकिंग, ठीक है, वाई एन अल्टरनेट रूट टू इंडिया. सो सिमिलरली यहां पे लिखो इंडिया 1498 एडी. ठीक है. अब गाइस, when these people have now found the new markets, obviously when you are having new markets you will be having huge demand. नए मार्केट से क्या हो रहा है, ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स इनहैंस होगा एंड इन टर्न आपको उतने प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने पड़ेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पास एक मशीन था, ठीक है, डिमांड बस 2 बच्चों की यूनिफॉर्म सिलना था. क्या करना था, 2 बच्चों की यूनिफॉर्म सिलना था. अब 2 नहीं 200, 200 भी नहीं 2000, 2000 भी नहीं 2 लाख. Obviously I'll be now looking for bigger settlements. ठीक है, अब मैं ये चाहूंगा कि अब मैं यहाँ पे एक फैक्ट्री ही लगा दूं. सिमिलर सिनेरियो यहाँ पे भी हुआ. ओके, जितना डिमांड बढ़ा उसी बेसिस पे प्रोडक्ट्स बने एंड वी आर सीइंग दैट लेड टू द राइज ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन. एरो के फॉर्म में ये लिखो, विद दिस वी आर सीइंग ग्रोथ of trade and commerce, which in turn led to the rise of industrial revolution. कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश करना, फॉल ऑफ कॉन्स्टेंटिनोपल, ठीक है, नाउ जो ऑटोमन टर्क्स है अब वो डोमिनेट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, दिस सिल्क रूट को. अब यूरोपियंस ने वॉयेज करना स्टार्ट किया, दे स्टार्टेड लुकिंग फॉर न्यू मार्केट्स. नई डिस्कवरीज की वजह से इंडिया या फिर अमेरिका जैसे मार्केट्स या फिर जो क्या कहते हैं एरियाज थे वो डिस्कवर हुए. ऑब्वियसली ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स बढ़ गया. अब यहाँ पे व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन गाइस, ओके, राइज ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन. ये आपका पहला जियोपॉलिटिकल फैक्टर था. सेकंड अगर मैं देखूं गाइस, इट इज गोइंग टू बी द रीजनल राइवलरीज. It is going to be the regional rivalries that led to the rise of industrial revolution. Okay, लिखो second cause. Regional rivalries. Regional rivalries. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब यहाँ पे इवन इन द क्लास एज वेल हमने देखा होगा कि अगर 2 बच्चे हैं क्लास में, ठीक है, अब दोनों को ही ये कहा जा रहा है कि दे आर ब्रिलियंट, दे आर ग्रेट, ठीक है, कभी एक टॉपर आ रहा है कभी दूसरा टॉपर आ रहा है, ठीक है. अब दोनों के बीच में कंपटीशन होगा, फर्स्ट मैं आऊंगा, आई शुड बी द क्लास टॉपर, आई शुड बी द क्लास टॉपर. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे भी ऐसा ही हो रहा है. वी आर सीइंग, ओके, द नेशंस विल compete to become the superpower. Okay, so यहाँ पे point लिखो, regional rivalries was the second competition to become superpower. Competition to become superpower. Competition to become superpower. Look here guys, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक छोटी सी एग्जाम्पल हम लेते हैं यहाँ पे एक सॉफ्टी की. हैव यू हैड दैट सॉफ्टी? कभी खाइए आइसक्रीम टाइप सॉफ्टी, ठीक है. मान लो, ओके, मान लो अब यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, आप ना पहले एक बंदा जो था वो सॉफ्टी बना रहा था, ओके, ही यूज्ड टू मेक इट विद हैंड, बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम कस्टमर्स की बहुत सारी डिमांड भी हुई. अब तो वो ही इज नॉट एबल टू केटर टू द ऑडियंस या फिर कस्टमर्स. अब उनके ही साइड में एक और बंदा था, ठीक है, उनने मशीन लाई एंड ही इज एबल टू केटर टू द बिगर ऑडियंस या फिर लार्ज कस्टमर्स. ऑब्वियसली वी विल सी, ये भाई साहब भी आएगा, ये कहेगा नहीं मेरे पास भी ये मशीन होनी चाहिए. अगर ये 10 को कर रहा है मैं 100 को करूंगा, ठीक है, 100 को कर रहा है 1000 को केटर करूंगा. सिमिलरली अब यहाँ पे भी काइंड ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन हमें देखने को मिल रहा है, अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को बेटर बनाने में, मशीनरी को लाने में, बड़े सेटलमेंट्स को एंड मोर प्रॉफिट कमाने में. सो सिमिलरली यहाँ पे भी वही सिनेरियो हो रहा है, रीजनल राइवलरीज. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट वी आर सीइंग एक यहाँ पे गाइस जो तीसरा रीजन रहेगा दैट शुड बी इंक्लूडेड इन द जियोपॉलिटिकल इज गोइंग टू बी द फिलोसफी ऑफ द कॉलोनियलिज्म. because we are seeing all these European nations ये क्या कर रहे हैं, okay, they are going and fetching or hunting more and more colonies. जैसे for example India was a colony of Britain. जैसे हम किन की colony थी, ब्रिटेन की. हम यहाँ से रॉ मटेरियल भेज रहे थे, वहां पे उनका फिनिशिंग हो रहा था, ठीक. तो एक तो हम रॉ मटेरियल भी भेज रहे हैं, we are sending raw material, and after that we are getting finished products from the Britain as well. तो एक तो हम रॉ मटेरियल भी भेज रहे हैं, साथ साथ में हम मार्केट भी एज काम कर रहे हैं फॉर द प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ ब्रिटिशर्स. तो सिमिलरली विद दिस वी आर सीइंग, अब यहाँ पे जो रॉ मटेरियल आ रहा था कॉलोनीज से, दैट बूस्टेड द इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन. राइट डाउन. थर्ड वन, फिलोसफी ऑफ कॉलोनियलिज्म. philosophy of colonialism. Colonies supplied raw materials and also acted as markets. Very good. Which in turn led to the rise of industries. जितना रॉ मटेरियल आएगा उसी बेसिस पे यू विल बी सेटिंग अप योर इंडस्ट्रीज. ठीक है. So guys, this was the political angle. This was the political. First, the fall of Constantinople. Second, regional rivalries to become the superpower. ठीक है. More and more industries का establishment हो रहा है, बहुत सारे products बनाए जा रहे हैं. And guys, we get to know that बहुत सारे scholars ने ये कहा है, even बहुत सारे philosophers ने ये कहा है कि that 3 inventions ने जो ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री है उनको बहुत ही बड़े लेवल पे इंपैक्ट किया है. द ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री हैज बीन इंपैक्टेड बाय 3 मेजर इन्वेंशंस. ठीक है. यहां सबसे पहले अगर मैं देखूं, इट वाज फायर. क्या था? फायर. सेकंड, इट वाज द व्हील, एंड इट वाज द व्हील गाइस, ओके, दैट मेड ह्यूमंस कम आउट ऑफ द स्टोन एज. And third one guys, it was the industrial revolution. Currently we are going with the 4th industrial revolution, जहां पे आप artificial intelligence, ठीक है, internet of things, ठीक है, machine learning की बात कर रहे हो. Even you might have heard about बहुत सारे अब artificial intelligence के tools भी आ रहे हैं, deep seek. Have you heard about that? Okay, grok अभी news में है, और we can go with this, है ना, बहुत सारे अभी भी है, चैट जीपीटी वगैरह. ओके, सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. वी आर गोइंग विद द 4th इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन गाइस स्टार्ट हुआ था 1750 में. तो 2050 तक जाने में बहुत ही डिफिकल्टी हो रही है हम लोगों को. बहुत सारे रिपोर्ट्स भी आ रहे हैं विच आर सजेस्टिंग दैट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन जो टॉप सॉइल लेयर है, ठीक है, दैट हैज बीन डिग्रेडेड. ठीक है, आए दिन बहुत सारे रिसर्चेस भी आते रहते हैं. लेट्स सी हाउ इट गोज. ओके, now when we have looked at this one guys, let's look at one more. Let's look at the scientific causes. Okay, that were the geopolitical mein first, fall of Constantinople, regional rivalries, and the third one, philosophy of colonialism. Okay, let's look at the scientific, and we will see it is going to be these scientific innovations that led to the rise of industries, that led to the rise of machine made products, and in turn it led to the rise of industrial revolution. Okay, done. चलो अब साइंटिफिक में लिखो. यहां पे लिखो new inventions such as, guys can you see this one, James Watt's steam engine, पहला इन्वेंशन. सेकंड इन्वेंशन अगर मैं देखूं, इट इज द जॉन केज फ्लाइंग शटल. टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में धागे बनाने में बहुत ही बड़ा काम कर रहा था. ठीक है, जॉन केज फ्लाइंग शटल हो, और वी कैन हैव दिस पावर लूम. ठीक है, जहां पे बहुत ही कपड़ा बुना जा रहा था. यू कैन लुक एट दिस वन, एंड वी सी दैट it is being said that the industrial revolution began from the textile sector. Okay, so new inventions mein write down new inventions. First, James Watt's steam engine. James Watt's steam engine. Done. One more thing. John K's flying shuttle. And in this journey ना never ever get tired. If you want to get the results ना ठीक है क्या कहते हैं स्मार्टली पढ़ना पड़ेगा और वो पूरा जोश के साथ. It should not like that कि चलो आ रहा हूँ क्लास दे रहा हूँ. नो 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 ठीक है. If you want to get the results ठीक है in a short span of time you have to put lot of efforts. Okay, that is the reality. बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं and then they tell we studied only for 15 minutes. 15 minutes से एग्जाम क्वालिफाई नहीं होता. With 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour से एग्जाम क्वालिफाई नहीं होता. ठीक है. बहुत सारे आते हैं ना after the results when they have qualified they'll come up with those ideas. ठीक है. तो ऐसा नहीं होता. इसमें काम लगेगा. मेहनत तो लगेगी यहाँ पे. John K's flying shuttle, and please remember this, it's not like a board exam where you will mug up everything and that vomit it out on a paper. No. For 78 questions I told you in the last session, 78 questions, okay, you will see that repetition हो सकता है, but 10 to 12 questions you will have to write on your own. With that, ये आपका help करेगा. Now one more, the power loom. Power loom. And we are seeing, guys, with the power loom, the textile industry was hugely benefited. And these were the innovations, guys, that led to the industrial revolution. यहाँ पे please mention that the textile industry was hugely benefited. Textile industry hugely benefited. जो आपकी textile industry थी वो hugely benefit हुई थी power loom की वजह से. We have covered two aspects. First, political. Second, it was the scientific. In scientific, please mention about these inventions. Okay, ये लिखो. All these inventions led to the rise of industrial revolution. ये सारी की सारी जो inventions थी, they led to the rise of industrial revolution. ठीक है? Has everyone got it? Now guys, let's look at one more angle. Let's look at the economic. Okay, heading दे दो आप economic. What were the economic reasons that led to the industrial revolution? Okay. ठीक है. Guys, first thing when we look at the economic reasons now, please remember this, याद रखना, it was the rise of capitalism. क्या था? Anyone कोई कहेगा what do you understand by the capitalism? Capitalism. Capitalist economy क्या होती है? Capitalist economy, हाँ? Very good. जहां पे आपके private players होते हैं, जहां पे profit motive होता है, it is profit driven. ठीक है, where we are seeing the role of the private players. Please remember this. With the rise of the capitalism, ठीक है, we saw the emergence of the private players. Obviously, अगर आप profit के लिए काम कर रहे हो, ठीक है, आप ये चाहेंगे अगर मैंने 10,000 कमा लिया, अब 10 लाख करोड़ कमाऊंगा, और अब 10 लाख करोड़ कमा लिया, अब 80 लाख करोड़ कमा लूंगा. ठीक है, आई विश कि आप सभी उतना कमा ले. ठीक है. ओके, सो ये ह्यूमन नेचर है. ठीक है, सो विद दिस जब ये सब हम देख रहे हैं, अगर कोई बंदा if he was I told you कि that if he was making 10 products in a year, over the period of time demand बढ़ गया, now demand is for 10 lakh products. Obviously उसे फैक्ट्रीज लगानी पड़ेगी, he'll shift to factories, he will be having more machine tools, ठीक है. So over the period of time, this led to the rise of the industrial revolution. Okay. First thing, when we look at the rise of capitalism, arrow के form में लिखो in this, okay, emergence of private players, emergence of private players, जैसे हम देखते भी है government hospital versus the private hospital, and even you can see if it is profit driven at that point of time, जो individuals है they invest hugely in their ventures. Okay, emergence of private players. Apart from that, guys, we see that जो free market economy concept था, which was given by the Adam Smith, okay, the capital of wealth, I guess, wealth of nations, okay, free market economy, laissez-faire, where we are seeing the minimal intervention of the government. Okay, so free market economy concept, free market economy concept benefited industrial revolution, benefited IR. Done. Second, guys, with the better shipping technologies, with the better modes of communication, over the period of time, what is happening? We are seeing जो लोग हैं, they are able to trade. तो मैं इकोनॉमिक एंगल की ही बात कर रहा हूं, ठीक है. When we are having great ships, compass, navigation skills, navigation maps, over the period of time, जो आपका ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स है वो इंक्रीज हो गया. ओके, व्हेन ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स इंक्रीज्ड, वर्ल्ड ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स इंक्रीज्ड, that also led to the industrial revolution. Write down second point, world trade enhancement या फिर progress in world trade, progress in world trade. Progress in world trade. Not just that, guys, we are looking at the third economic reason, and it is going to be the colonial wealth. क्या रहेगा? Colonial wealth. For example, अगर कोई पर्टिकुलर प्लेस है और यहां से एप्पल्स आ रहे हैं, एंड दिस इज अ कॉलोनी ऑफ सम प्लेस, एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इस एप्पल का मैं जूस भी बना सकता हूं, कोई बियर भी बना सकता हूं, ग्रेप्स आ रहे हैं, वाइन की कितनी सारी मैं क्वालिटीज या फिर कितने सारे टाइप्स बना सकता हूं, एंड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इंडस्ट्रीज का एस्टेब्लिशमेंट होता है. सो जो कॉलोनियल वेल्थ है, कॉलोनीज वेर सप्लाइंग ह्यूज रॉ मटेरियल, ये पॉइंट भी लिखो. कॉलोनीज like India supplied huge raw material. सबने लिखा? Okay. Not just that, guys, we are seeing one more. Okay. एग्रीकल्चर में भी रेवोल्यूशन आया. कहां पे? In agriculture we are seeing that revolution was there. New farming techniques, new breeding techniques were there, and with that एक तो केटल्स का भी जो पॉपुलेशन है वो इंक्रीज हुआ, प्लस जो फूड है उसमें भी काफी सारा प्रोडक्शन हुआ था. इवन इफ वी जस्ट गो बैक टू 200 और 300 years, इतना सारा फूड अवेलेबल नहीं था. इवन इफ वी लुक एट द 1950s, 1940s या फिर 1850s, इतने सारे कपड़े अवेलेबल नहीं थे जो आज आप पहन रहे हो, इतने सारे ब्रांड्स के. ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इसमें भी डाइवर्सिफिकेशन आ रहा है. हम तो दो तीन कपड़ा पहनने वाले थे, विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस ग्लोबलाइजेशन वी आर वेयरिंग दीज जीन्स एंड ऑल दैट, है ना. ओके, सो यहाँ पे भी अगर मैं देखूं एग्रीकल्चर रिवोल्यूशन, ठीक है, ये भी एक बहुत ही बड़े लेवल पे रोल प्ले कर रहा है. राइट डाउन द वन मोर रीजन, दैट इज एग्रीकल्चरल रिवोल्यूशन. एग्रीकल्चरल रेवोल्यूशन। एग्रीकल्चरल रेवोल्यूशन। अब गाइस सबसे बड़ा फैक्टर अगर मैं देखूं एग्रीकल्चर रेवोल्यूशन में, प्लीज राइट डाउन न्यू फार्मिंग टेक्निक्स, ओके, न्यू फार्मिंग टेक्निक्स प्लस improved livestock breeding, improved livestock। होता है ना आपके पास, या अगर मैं देखूं गाय वगैरह, किसी के पास शीप्स है, गोट्स है, someone is having goat, sheeps and all that, improved livestock breeding led to the huge economic growth, led to huge economic growth। ठीक है। नाउ गाइस द बिगेस्ट फैक्टर दैट आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू ओवर हियर, ओके, जब हम ये इकोनॉमिक एंगल यहां पे देख रहे हैं, वन रीजन इट इज गोइंग टू बी द इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट। क्या रहे इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट? इनिशियली अगर मैं देखूं 10th सेंचुरी में भी था ये, बट दिस मूवमेंट एक्सेलरेटेड इन द 18th एंड द 19th सेंचुरी। ओके, जो लैंड, this land initially was owned by community as a whole, but over the period of time इस लैंड का प्राइवेटाइजेशन हुआ। क्या हुआ? प्राइवेटाइजेशन। अब जो ये लैंड प्राइवेट प्लेयरों ने ले लिया, वी आर सीइंग जो लेबर यहां पे था, the labor, okay, were left with no work, that labor, okay, went to the cities and they started working in the industries, and when this land was privatized, obviously you will work hard over these pieces of land, and obviously आपकी जो एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्टिविटी है वो इंक्रीज होती है। द एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्टिविटी गॉट इंक्रीज्ड एंड द लेबर फ्रॉम दीज पर्टिकुलर लैंड्स शिफ्टेड टू द इंडस्ट्रीज। ओके, सो इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट एक और हेडिंग दे दो, इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट, इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट। ठीक है, फर्स्ट थिंग गाइस, इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट भी आपका इकोनॉमिक एंगल ही दर्शा रहा है वहां पे, बट वन थिंग दैट आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू, इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट में क्या हो रहा है, दिस वाज सीन इन 18th एंड 19th सेंचुरी। फर्स्ट पॉइंट लिखो, दिस वाज सीन इन 18th एंड 19th सेंचुरी। ठीक है, अब इफ दे आस्क यू टुमारो इन योर इंटरव्यू व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय द इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट, so now you have an idea that enclosure movement, ठीक है, was that process, ठीक है, in which the land was privatized। simply लैंड को क्या किया गया था? प्राइवेटाइज किया गया था। वो जो लैंड था इनिशियली इट वाज ओन्ड बाय द कम्युनिटी एज ए होल, ठीक है, पब्लिक लैंड था, बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इट वाज प्राइवेटाइज्ड एंड वी आर सीइंग एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्टिविटी वाज एनहांस्ड, बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम जो यहां पे लेबर था, ठीक है, अब सबने जब फेंसिंग कर लिया है यहां पे, ये मेरा, ये आपका, ये आपका, ये आपका, द पीपल हु आर नॉट हैविंग नाउ लैंड्स, उनके पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं था, दे हैड टू माइग्रेट टू द सिटीज। ओके, राइट डाउन द इनक्लोजर मूवमेंट वाज अ प्रोसेस ऑफ टेकिंग लैंड that was previously owned in common by a community and making it privately owned, making it privately owned, the privatization of this land। Has everyone noted it down? Okay. One more point, guys. Add कर लो यहाँ पे. Write down one more point. The labor force in the form of an arrow. In the form of an arrow. Will you be able to revise this one? Okay. Don't you have a large copy? Okay. Okay. You have kept it like this. Cool. Okay. Huh. So, okay. What did you write? The labor force. Okay. The labor force moved towards cities and started working in the industries. The labor force moved towards industries, cities, and started working in industries. Okay. One more, guys. When we are looking at this one more factor was there. It was the availability of natural resources in the form of coal. When we look at the Britain or when we look at the Europe, coal अच्छा खासा मात्रा में पाया जाता था. The availability of coal, and coal was very important to run the steam engine, to run the machinery. You might have seen that Gadar एक प्रेम कथा. Have you seen that movie where Sunny Deol is going with that coal and वो ठीक है? Earlier trains used to run like that. अभी तो electric and all that ठीक है? उस basis पे हम देख रहे हैं. So please remember this. Write down the one more reason: natural resources. Example: coal. Natural resources. Example: coal. ये लिखो. It was available. Natural resources. Example: coal. Available. Available in Britain. Natural resources available in Britain. Okay, which was necessary to run. चूहा है यहाँ पे कोई. Okay. Which was necessary to run. Okay, which yes, which was necessary to run steam engine, which was necessary to run steam engine and other sorts of machinery. And other sorts of machinery. Chalo. Now guys, tomorrow we will be looking at this particular thing. Why England became the epicenter of the revolution. ये heading देके रखो. Why England became the epicenter of the revolution. Can we go for more 5 minutes? चलो ये करते हैं. Then we have to look at the impact tomorrow. Okay, heading दे दीजिए. Why England became the epicenter. Why England became the epicenter, okay, of the revolution. Anyone having any idea? Anyone having any idea? Yes? Why England became the epicenter of this revolution? Huh? Raw material? ठीक है, पहला raw material. Very good. Second? हाँ, अब थोड़ा सा इसे broadly हम ये describe करेंगे. Second one? Very good. Access to ports. Great. Climate as well. Huh? Enhancement in trade. Very good. Anyone else? Good. One more. Good. The first point that we would like to write over here, let's go with the political stability. First point लिखो. Political stability. political stability. That means peace and calm. First point. Second point, guys. Okay, it was the huge capital. इनके पास अच्छा खासा पैसा भी था. Huge capital. Third, जो उन्होंने point किया, that raw material from the colonies such as India. Third, abundance of raw material. Abundance of raw material. Fourth one, yes, very good. Okay, and even we can see जो steam engine था, जो scientific innovations हुई थी, वो इंग्लैंड में ही हुई थी. Scientific innovations. Scientific innovations. Okay. Apart from that, guys, we can see enclosure movement, agriculture revolution. Enclosure movement. इनके बैंक्स फ्लोरिश हो रहे थे, जो बैंकिंग एक्टिविटी थी, जो बैंक्स थे, ठीक है, दे फ्लोरिश्ड ड्यूरिंग दिस टाइम. वन मोर लिखो, बैंक्स okay were flourishing. Banks were flourishing. Apart from that, guys, if I look at the England over here, इनका जो ज्योग्राफी था ना, उसने भी काफी हेल्प किया था. यहाँ पे जो क्लाइमेट था, क्लाइमेट एंड ज्योग्राफी. राइट ऑन वन मोर पॉइंट, क्लाइमेट एंड ज्योग्राफी. क्लाइमेट एंड ज्योग्राफी. Geography में guys, we can see access to ports, and climate in this sense, थोड़ा सा हवा में यहाँ पे नमी हुआ करती थी. There was bit humidity, which is good for the cotton. Okay, humidity जो है, the humid air, जिससे जो धागा है वो टूटता नहीं है. Okay, that was there. Not just that, guys. One more thing we are seeing, Britain at this point of time was having huge workforce. जो labor था, that was available. जैसे we are seeing the India is going with this demographic dividend at present. Okay, because बहुत सारा हमारा population जो है, it is between the age of 15 to 59 or 15 to 64. So please remember this. One more point, one more reason that you should write over here. Okay, availability of labor or workforce. Availability of labor, availability of labor. And guys, it is being said that within the span of 50 years, England की population double हुई थी 1780 से. Not just that, one more thing, we are seeing natural resources were also available in Britain. That is coal या फिर iron. Write on one more point. Very good. Resources or natural resources. Natural resources such as coal and iron. Very good. Natural resources such as coal and iron were seen in huge amount in Britain. Okay, so if they ask you tomorrow, यहाँ question भी आया था, we saw that कि why England became the epicenter of this industrial revolution. पहला point, political stability, where other people, other nations, they were involved in civil wars, revolutions. फ्रेंच में फ्रेंच revolution हो रहा है, अमेरिका में अमेरिकन revolution हो रहा है, but at the same time we are seeing Britain was okay going through peace. पहला point. Second point, labor था, capital was there, colonies बहुत सारी थी, and it was being said that their sun never set on the British Empire. In the entire human history, if we look at the largest empire, it was the British Empire. ठीक है, ईस्ट से लेकर वेस्ट तक ब्रिटिशर्स का हर एक जगह पे राज था. Not just that, we saw enclosure movement. With that, productivity increased, economic growth हुआ, banks were flourishing. So these were all the reasons, okay, which we can see. With that, England became the epicenter of this industrial revolution. So guys, tomorrow we will be looking at the impact of industrial revolution, चाहे वो political हो या फिर social हो या फिर environmental हो. ठीक है, positive and negative, pros and cons, we have to take care of both the things. Okay, so see you tomorrow and take care. Okay, welcome. Bye.